We are going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Kareem Talks. I'm your host, Kareem, and as you can see, I'm very dressed down. I am in my Zen moment. You see the little, nope, wrong side. Camera's mirrored. Sorry, you see the little yin yang right there. I am balanced today. Today is Sunday. It was a beautiful day. Spent some time with my family. Spent some time with the wife, and we had a little bit of fun today. We had a little bit of fun. We had to get out. You know, the coronavirus can't keep us locked in forever. But we are not here for that, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about traveling the world and the importance of travel, of course. And what better way to do so than by inviting a guest who has been around the world? Maybe not everywhere, but she's been a couple places. She's probably going to travel right after the show is done. But of course, her home is all the way in Brooklyn, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my guest, Sister Jadea Muhammad.
OMG, what an introduction.
Right? Yes. I always do it big for my guests.
Yo,
always. Every guest. Yes.
Yo, you couldn't see me, but I was low-key throwing up gang signs. You said Brooklyn. I was
not
like,
the gang signs. Can't do that. Can't do
right,
that.
Notice I'm keeping my hands over here. I'm not trying to, I value my life.
We definitely don't need that.
Right.
Don't pop up on my crib saying, why you had a gang member on here. Definitely don't need that. Okay. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I guess you said basically all there is to say, right? I mean, so yeah, I'm Jadea. I'm from the faraway land of Brooklyn. I care a lot about travel and education in Black people and the people of the world, and also freedom and justice and equality. That's effective. That's basically it. I mean, everything else like just kind of like goes
the gist.
That's a gist, right? And I guess I would say one thing that I've learned recently from a friend is that like I'm also just like extremely curious. Like life for me is like an adventure. It's like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. So that's kind of how the world is from my eyes. And so I haven't been bored in like maybe 12 or 13 years as a result.
Wow. 13 years of world travel. Wow. 13 years of world travel. That's more than me. I've only been out of the States once.
Where'd you go?
Jamaica. Holy Day of Atonement.
Oh, that was a great time. That was
a wonderful time. Also. Splendid time. Dang. Should have met you there. Allah was like, it wasn't timing. Dang. But yeah, that was wonderful. And now that we've got the introduction out of the way, let's get into it. Like you travel around the world. Where have you been? Like where exactly have you been?
Okay. Okay, let's see. I've been most recently to Canada, and I was actually right before quarantine. It was actually during Savior's Day. Like I landed a day before I actually had post, and my niece happened to be there at Savior's Day. So the moment the plane landed, she was
in Detroit.
In Detroit, exactly. Detroit is like literally like the lake away. Like you can see Canada from the hotel. So like the moment the plane touched down, I like text my niece. I was like, "Hey, do you want to have dinner in Canada tonight?" And she was like, "Of course, yeah, sure, no problem." So that's what we did. That was my last time abroad. And then before that, I was in Senegal and France. And I'm gonna just go through the list. I'm trying to go in chronological order, but that's not helpful right now. Tanzania and Brazil and Ireland and Italy.
Italy.
And Japan and China and
China.
And the UAE.
UAE, what's the UAE?
Oh, the United Arab Emirates is where Dubai is.
Oh, snap.
Abu Dhabi is.
She done been to Dubai.
I know that I'm forgetting something, but that's like the general gist. Like I've been so far, I just know I've been to like 5 continents. And I know that I got to hit up Antarctica and I got to hit up Australia. And I did apply for
You're
this.
gonna go to the land of Nopeville, Australia.
No,
Like
honestly,
the land of giant snakes and spiders as big as your head. You're gonna go to the land of Nope.
I gotta go. It's a continent, so I have to go. I would go to the North Pole too. And I saw this thing about this blind man who reached the top of Mount Everest. So I was like, maybe I should do that. And I also applied for this civilian astronaut program. So pray for me, because I would totally do that. Like I'm just
so
like,
you're gonna go to the moon next.
They're only letting you go just like outside the Earth's atmosphere for now. Like they're not doing like the moon just yet, which is annoying.
Wow.
You know, they got to pay more
attention.
attention.
You are a traveler.
I try.
You are a traveler's traveler. Wow. Some of those places. How was Ireland? I'm very curious about that one. How was that?
It was actually really great. Like the Irish people have in Ireland at least, like have such a hilarious sense of humor. Like they're mad funny. When you ask people like, hey, how do you like the country? And they're like, oh, I mean, the weather could be better, but you know, it's okay here, you know? And then like they drove us because I went for a tech conference. And so they drove us past the Irish president's like house, like the Irish White House. They drove us past that and said, yeah, the president, he lives here, da. But then they took us to the Guinness factory and they're like, this is the true heart of the revolution.
That's like, what I was waiting for.
It had like beer was literally easier to come across than water. Like it was not like an exageration. It was like, hey, beer. And I'm like, no, do you have water? They're like, oh no, we don't have that. And I'm like, I was dehydrated out there for a couple of days. Plus I'm vegetarian and they're all about their meat. It was
all about the meat. I expect that.
It was a struggle.
I was like, oh yeah, here's the president. Oh look, beer. I expected that. Yeah. How was Japan? That's a place that I've always wanted to go. I still want to go. That's one of the places I'm going to go before, you know, Allah sends hellfire in America. We're joking, but we're not. But how was that Japan? Part? How was Japan?
Japan also literally amazing. I have to go back and live there someday. Like I just can't. I had to like almost cried like leaving because it was just. It's like New York in the sense that it's very modern, but Japan also has such a deep respect for the old as well. So there's so many cultures inside of Japan. And it's like, it's so vibrant, so colorful, so cutting edge, yet so ancient. And the people there, I was also there coming from China. I did a semester abroad there. And like the people in Japan in comparison to in China were so polite. They're so polite. So it's like, I remember we tried to jaywalk and like a police officer literally stopped us and we didn't, you know, we understood him, but we didn't understand him. He was just kind of like, He was like, you know, like you're not supposed to jaywalk. Like it was literally like a skip. Like the street must have been like this long and still no jaywalking at all. You just have to wait for the light apparently. So,
wow.
But yeah, it was.
But they were nice about it.
He was pretty stern, but generally like the people in Japan were pretty nice. I would say.
In comparison to China?
I would just say like more polite. Like in China, people just kept it more real about how they felt. Like in Japan, people were likely to step to you. Like in China, people would come to you and be like, they would just be like, like they're like, you know, something low. Like what's going on? Why are you? So how does this work? You're like black on this side and on your hands, and like white on this side. They're like they would just walk up to you and ask them like, no chill, no one had chill, but. I appreciate it. I'm from New York, so you know I appreciate people being straightforward about you know what's on their minds and how they feel. So
that's dope. That's crazy.
Highly recommend Japan. I think you would love it. I think you got to spend like at least like a month there. In Tokyo alone, you would vibe out. You in Kyoto alone, you would vibe out. If you want to go to like you know any of the other. I mean, I imagine that you might know Japanese geography better than me at this point, but like you know, I feel like you gotta go. You gotta go.
Definitely want to go to Kyoto. Definitely want to go to Tokyo, especially because Nintendo headquarters is there. Yeah, there's so many parts of Japan I would like to cover. I would love to go there. Definitely.
Just go live there. Basically, I feel like you got to just go live there. And I'm not even like.
I mean, the wheel came from there. I mean, wouldn't you know? I wouldn't mind.
Sabbath is an educator. Y'all can, you know, do your education thing out there. We have believers in Japan.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brother Munir.
Yeah.
The brother in the East.
Yeah.
If he's watching this. Wow. So that's that. What is the we've already covered like a couple of things you've already like learned and picked up the different cultures or whatnot. What is the importance of traveling the world? Why is that so important to you specifically?
I was just born like this.
Straight up.
Honestly though, like I just remember being younger and just knowing that I whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to be international with it. Like I wanted to be a teacher. I was like, I'm gonna be an international teacher. I wanted to be an eye doctor, like an ophthalmologist. I want to be an international ophthalmologist. I watched a lot of Carmen Sandiego. I wanted to do what she did.
Not Carmen Sandiego.
That's my
Not where
girl.
in the world?
Oh my God. And then I realized like a little while ago that so many of my coats are red and I never realized why. And I'm like, like,
God was just like,
she was in my subconscious.
you want to be Carmen Sandiego? Huh? All right.
Yeah, you know,
All
it's
the
like,
red coats.
yeah, all of them. Like the
That's
red trench, the
hilarious.
high collar, like it's ridiculous, but I will not regret it at all. But I would say that like travel in particular, I think for like Black people, for like people in the nation, just like anybody who is like this. Have you ever heard that story about the blind folks and the elephant?
I have not.
Okay, boom, right? So quick story. Like, so there's an elephant in a room, LOL, right? And so then you have these men who are blindfolded. They're trying to understand the concept of what an elephant is, right? So one person feels the elephant's hide, and he's like, you know, his skin. He's like, oh, I understand what an elephant is. It's a leathery, rough, you know, thing. But another person is feeling the elephant's like, you know, tail, and he's like, you fool. No, I'm feeling an elephant too. And absolutely not. The elephant is a wispy, long, kind of hairy thing. Like there's another person, he's like feeling the elephant's tusk. And he's like, y'all are both bugging. The elephant is actually something that is hard and smooth to the touch. That's what an elephant is. And the thing is that, you know, of course they're all right, but like until they're willing to actually move over and try to experience things from the other's perspective, they don't have the full picture of what an elephant is. And I think about that literally basically every day because that's kind of how I see life, where it's like, you know, our earth is a sphere. You can only see one side of it at a time until you move over and try and see it from another perspective. And then it's like you get an idea what the whole truth is. And we were taught in the nation since we were like in the womb, like 196,940,000 square miles. Like, you know, we learned the actual facts of our planet. And it's like not just to stay in our blocks, not just to stay in our boroughs, in our cities, in our states. Like, why do you think? Why do you think he was
the
like, you know,
world is yours.
He didn't even give the American, like, you know, like area. He gave the area in the circumference of the earth itself. So we had to take that in consideration. It's like clearly, and then he's like, he traveled 9,000 miles. Like travel is all up in there. Like it's literally, I got my Quran here, my passport next to me over there, but it's just like, it's literally all up in everything. Without travel, we wouldn't be. I could go on forever about that. So I'm gonna chill.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's a passion of yours. I can see that. How has it been? How has it been therapeutic for you? Because I know it has.
Wow, that's interesting. Therapeutic. I mean, it has been therapeutic, but I guess when I'm experiencing it, do I think of it as therapeutic? Yeah, I do. Okay, so I mean, okay, I guess therapeutic. Like I'm a person who I like if I said today, oh, I learned something new that I never knew before, or oh, I never looked at it that way, or oh, that's different. Like if I experience any of those things and I've had like a good day, or if I've tried, you know, the issues like someone speaks a different language and you're trying to like help them understand what you're trying to say. Maybe you have to use like gestures or words or sounds and things like that. I love that problem. So it's like, oh, this is great. You know, so I guess I find like therapy or I find solace in the excitement of it, where it's like because you're traveling now, it's like a certain mindset. I guess it's kind of like when you go into detail and it's like maybe you're confronted with things that you weren't necessarily like prepped on before, but now it's right in front of you and now you got to deal with it. It's no, oh no, what do I do? You know, you can't do that. It's like
can't do that.
Move. You have to you know, you have to just make it happen.
Moving right down
make
to the
impossible happen. Exactly. And it's like that kind of travel helps me access that mindset or helps the humans access that mindset like way easier, because every time you get new information, like your brain is a muscle and it literally changes, like all those grooves in the brain, like it literally changes. So literally just taking yourself and putting yourself in a new environment forces your brain to operate and change and move differently. And so that gives you like, just more tools to move with. So it just makes you more flexible or neuroplastic as a person. So I just really enjoy that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we have learned today: travel enhances your brain meats.
Literally, your brain meets. That's, yeah. I'm gonna just say it like that from now on.
Word to Dashi. That's where the word came from. Brain meats. You should look him up on YouTube. This is not a plug. I just happen to watch the guy. But back to our topic. Where would you say, because you travel to a lot of places, has there ever been a place that you had difficulty dealing with?
Okay, well, I can't just come on your platform and just lie. I mean,
No, we
yes.
keep it 100% transparent. But this is a safe space.
Yeah.
It's a very safe space.
I have had a hard time in only one place ever. I mean, it's not like other places haven't presented difficulty, but like I had a uniquely hard time in Los Angeles.
I was expecting somewhere out of the States, but no, in the States. If there are any West Coasters watching,
I'm really sorry. I
still rock with you. I still rock with you, of course. But that was funny. Please talk about that.
It was hard. It was really hard. Like it just okay.
Yeah, to bring the fan out. She's going through it again. Got departed it.
You want the long or the short of it?
We have story time. This is story time right now.
Okay, well, long story short, I was going out to LA and because I actually needed to be in Rialto, but I ended up in LA for a couple of days. And so when my friend, like he's like a skater dude, like at the UN, he's like, oh my God, Jade, you're going to LA? You know what you gotta do? You gotta go to Venice Beach while the sun is up. Don't be in Venice Beach while the sun is down. And then make your way, like see the culture, see the skaters, see the artists, and then you can from Venice Beach just walk on over to Santa Monica Pier and see the sunset. And it's beautiful and it's great. And so I decided to try that, but I was in LA relying on public transportation. And so it takes LA is not like public transportation. LA just don't. You had to drive in LA, and I
just like Atlanta, just like Atlanta.
Right. And I didn't have a lot of money for Uber, so I was just taking the bus. So it would have taken maybe like 30 minutes just to drive to where I was trying to go. It took 2 hours. It was trash, but then on top, even that, I was like, okay, cool, no problem. You either pay for things with time or money. I don't have money, so I'm paying with time, no problem. So by the time the sun set, I was still on a bus on the way to Venice Beach. And I ended up at a bus stop across the street from a liquor store next to a wino who had just finished peeing on himself. But then it was just like, I was just like, why? Okay, this was bad, poorly executed decision. Okay, no problem. But like everywhere just kind of felt like I was on like a movie set. And it's just like nothing felt real, and what felt real was dirty, and it was a different kind of dirty from what I was used to. Like I'm not gonna act like New York smells like roses. New York smells terrible. That's horrible. But it's home, right? It's my kind of horrible. It's terrible. It's like
that's your hard knocks.
That's my, it's like a awful that I'm comfortable with. There's certain parts of China smell terrible, but LA is terrible was just a different kind of. It was terrible and fake, and I think that was too much for me.
You're just like, nah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give LA another try though, because I think like my Black friends and brothers and sisters out in LA, like they love it, and I'm like, I want to experience LA through their eyes. Like I think it's one of those places you got to go with somebody to like really like get the vibe, and I think it was a struggle, and not even like the food was fantastic. That was the
food is fantastic. I heard about that.
Yeah.
So as of now, LA is like a 2 out of 10.
It was a strong 1.
Strong 1 out of 10. That's your first experience. Now you got to go with other people.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm gonna give it another try because it's gotta for LA to be so awesome of a place. I'm sure it was just an anomaly. I'm down to give it another try. Black Panther single-handedly made me want to give California another try.
Best, say less.
Yeah.
Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, and before we continue, to whatever audience members are watching in the YouTube chat, please leave your questions for my guest, and I will get to them, and I will ask her. It doesn't have to be just me asking the questions, although I like that. It is my show after all. But please leave your comments in the questions and comments in the YouTube chat, and I'll get to them as soon as I see them. Now going from worst side, and now we got to get the pleasure moment, and you got to remember, what was your best traveling experience? Where was it? Best traveling experience. I feel like I know the answer, but I want you to tell me.
You think? I'm curious about what you think because I don't think I have an answer.
I honestly feel like I don't know. Maybe Dubai because I've heard a lot of people have enjoyed Dubai, but I'm really leaning towards Japan because of how you described it. I'm really leaning towards Japan.
Man.
Because a place is good. I'm sorry for cutting you off. A place is good when you say you want to live there. But
it's fair. Mm-hmm. Low key, I wanted to live in the UAE too, though. So that's like a little. I did not want to live in Ireland because it took me 3 straight days to get a good meal. Nope, would not.
Dubai 0 out of 10. Oh no, not Dubai. Ireland 0 out of 10 would recommend if you're a Muslim.
Yeah, nah. And then I made the mistake of going to like an Irish-run Asian fusion restaurant again.
Oh no! Oh no!
Bad decisions. Bad decision. But it was the only option at the time. It was either that or like a barbecue kind of place, and it was like, all right, I'll just take my chances. Let me think. To be honest, I don't have an answer for that because every single country that I've ever been to has changed me in some way, and I have some kind of endearing memory in those spaces. So I don't even think it'd be fair to say. Other places that I felt like I would live, Korea and South Korea in particular, of course.
Not North. We definitely not the North.
Right, not the North. Sorry. But yeah, and maybe Senegal. I love Senegal a lot. Let me think. Where else have I said I would live here? I have other places on my list, but I have not been there yet. So I'm not going to say for sure that I would live there.
Well, I would say instead, since you can't give us your best experience off the top of your head, talk about at least top 3, top 5. We'll say top 3. We'll say top 3.
Walking down the street in South Korea and in Seoul, and oh my gosh, yeah. Like I'm walking down the street in South Korea, and like basically the music that I'm hearing from all the stores is just like black music, and it felt
really.
Yeah. So boom, right? I'm walking down the street. I'm in what part of town is that? I was in Sinchon. It's like the university. It's like a university area. Mad young people around. I'm walking, minding my business. Like finally got a leisurely day off after this conference situation. And out of one store, I was hearing like Korean like jazz music.
Ooh.
And like I'm like, and it's bumping, and I'm like, I keep walking, and I hear K-pop, which is already informed by R&B.
Yep.
And like I keep walking some more, and they have like Korean karaoke, which they call norabangs, and so like they're playing Korean trap music.
Korean trap music, we love it.
It's amazing. We love it. It's amazing. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm like, yo, like. Am I in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, or am I in another country? Because all this music is the music of. If I were to say, let me play you the music of my people, like this is that. So, and the people were just so warm and so kind, and the food was amazing, and it was so extremely safe. Like I could be out mad late and like feel perfectly safe because the country is that safe. So I would say Korea, boom. Another time I was in China and I ended up at the Shaolin Temple, and long story short, almost ended up getting stuck there overnight.
Yo,
it's a long story.
Like Shaolin, like the monk, like the Buddhist Shaolin, monks, like
the whole, like I got, that place, that exact that one, the that part.
Wow.
Yeah, so I almost got stuck there with some of my friends in college, and that was actually it was extremely stressful in the moment, but looking back, it was one of those like, yo, what does my life come to? Like, I can't believe that I'm at the Shaolin. So like the Shaolin Temple is is in this place called what is it called? I think Dongfeng. So it's in a town called Dongfeng, and it's like on top of a mountain. And the thing is that once you get up there, there's also more mountains. Like in China, they have what they call the five great mountains, and one of the like mountains to climb, and one of them is at Shaolin. And so, long story short, we had to take a train to get into town, to take a bus to get into deeper into town, to take a little van to go up the mountain, where you could then take things to get you further up the mountain. So if you miss one of those things on the way back, then you miss them all. And we were on our way to we're on our way to Xi'an, which is the oldest city in China, and it's also one of the oldest Muslim communities. Like the oldest mosque in China is in Xi'an. Like native, like the actual Quran is from Xi'an. Like
that's crazy.
Like, yeah, we were on our way there, but if we missed the van, we missed the bus, we missed the train, then we would have missed everything. Yeah, Allah was just all up in that. Again, another series of really terrible decisions.
He was just like, there's something in this mosque I do not want you to see. Make them stop.
It was, yeah. We made it to Xi'an, but by the purest skin of our teeth, by like, yeah, every rule. Oh my God, we broke so many. I'm just happy to be alive, is all I'm gonna say about that.
Praise the Lord. He's the God of second chances. Word of VeggieTales.
Right. I'm trying to think of other, I mean, there's just so many stories that I could tell, like so many life-threatening moments that turned into really great opportunities for friendships. So many, oh my God. Like, I guess it's like those moments where I got to experience like the alchemy in life. Like you can, oh man, this is really tense, but let's see how we can turn this into an opportunity for like learning and for like how we can work any kind of situation, like how, like, joy is always possible if you, try. And so I learned to really just kind of, all right, where can we find the joy? How do we, what they would call, oh, this is impossible, but we're Muslims. Impossible is not really a thing for us anyway. So just seeing the impossible become possible
super
all
facts.
Those times. Yeah.
All righty then. Wow. We have 4 minutes before our commercial break. Like I said, if there's anyone in the audience watching, please leave your questions in the chat and I will get to them as soon as I see them. And this, you don't have to answer all this question now, because our break is coming up. But what advice would you give to people who are afraid to travel the world for whatever reason?
Yeah, I would have to ask why they're afraid. And also I would say that like there's this quote that I saw on the internet that said all of the most wonderful things in life are on the immediate other side of fear. So it's like, going up a mountain sucks, but like getting to, I don't know, getting to like dune board down it or getting to like see what's at the top of it, like it's totally worth it. Ooh, one time I was at the Great Wall and I ran into this camel. Anyway, I'll share with you the photo afterward, but like it was like, what is this camel doing here? It's like, why is a camel here? But it's like, if I didn't go through the trouble of actually like, going through all of those steps, it got exhausting at one point, but it's like, yo, camel, totally worth it. So I guess I would say like, yo, I would make a promise, right? That literally what's on the other side of traveling the world, like going to another country, like just getting on a plane, is worth so much more than anything that fear would keep you here to see. Like I live in New York City. I love my city. There's enough stuff to do here for several lifetimes and I could still not get bored. And even still, like New Yorkers, we think we have everything. Turns out we do not have everything. Like in Korea, they just got mountains behind their buildings. Like they just casually have mountains around. And it's just like, that's so cool. Like, how do you just have mountains here? Like, we don't get to see that in the city. But like, until you go abroad to see and experience it for yourself, you wouldn't know. I keep telling people, like, try not to be basic. Like,
try not to be basic. Listen, when I went to Jamaica for the first time, and then after this, we're going to go to our commercial break. Because I do see our first question for after the break. I went to Jamaica and all the food tasted 100% bona fide French.
Amazing.
There were some things I shouldn't have eaten. You know, I indulged in some goat, some curry goat.
We don't eat goat. Sorry, I'm vegetarian. I
had some curry goat.
Oh,
some lamb. Oh, spicy guava seared lamb, to be precise. Some passion fruit pineapple ginger beer. Oh man, I had and everything. Even some of their even some of the American restaurants, like they have their BK and KFC, but all of their food, it looks different than what we had in America. And you can trust it. I didn't see the high fructose corn syrup. I didn't see the dyes and the monosodium glutamate, everything. You can read every ingredient.
Yeah.
And it felt amazing. Good.
We had virgin coladas every day.
Yes. Yes.
Multiple.
Yes.
No shame.
Go to Jamaica. 10 out of 10 will recommend. Visit Kingston. Although people, and I'm going to shut up because we have a commercial break and I don't want to go over, but visit Kingston. That's where all of our people are. It's literally like an outside bazaar. It reminded me of Timache back in Miami. That's the Haitian flea market. For those of you all who are not aware. But yeah, it reminded me of home, and I felt good over there. You know, it was nice. But I'm going to zip the lip. And we're going to go to our commercial break. Peace.
Hi, my name is Raiden Scott.
My name is Yasmin.
It's Ramari X. Allen. Go to the Homeschooling Society.
Go to the Homeschooling Society.
I attend the Homeschooling Society.
Greetings. My name is Sabbath Muhammad, founder, owner, and CEO of the Homeschooler Society, LLC.
Here at the Homeschooler Society, we pride ourselves in bringing full and complete understanding to all of our students. Our method is simple, not moving on until the child fully understands.
I do what I do as an educator because I remember when I was in elementary school, middle school, and high school. I remember teachers and educators not showing as much care and patience as they could. This widespread way of teaching drives me to do what I do.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, my wife, Sister Sabbath Muhammad, who is the founder, owner, and CEO of the Homeschooler Society, is now accepting middle school students starting next month. So if you're interested in enrolling your child for the summer, unless it's too late, I don't know, you have to ask her. Visit Sabbath Muhammad at Sabbath Muhammad on IG. That is at Sabbath Muhammad on IG. And meet my homie, Darth Vidarius. Darth Vidarius is sporting a very, very snazzy, very nice looking Kareem Talks snapback. Okay. Who knows? In this fall, you may see him wearing a hoodie. Go to welcometokareemtalks.com for your hoodies, hats, shirts, and soon to be flip-flops because it's the summer. And I know you're going to the beach. Now then, back to the show. Oh, you're on mute.
I was just saying that's mad creative.
Yes.
I thought, let me make merch flip-flops.
Yes. You gotta do what the people are doing now. Shoot, don't let me get my hands on sundresses. Kareem Talk sundress? Ooh. But going into the audience, we have a question from Sister Kadira. Her question is, and it's a loaded one. where do you see the importance of us traveling, connecting with different cultures in the future of our nation and reaching the original people all over the planet Earth?
Wow, Kathira, what a question. Okay, where do I see different cultures and different folks in the future of our nation and the folks of the planet Earth? Did I understand that question correctly, basically?
Yes, all over the earth.
I mean, yeah, it's super important. The first thing that came to my mind is what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when he was like, I have made friends for you all over the planet Earth. And it's super true. Very true. I was literally just telling Khadijah about a time where I had a really tense moment in Serbia where if not for Islam, it would have just stayed tense and not been good at all. I have moments in China where, again, like if not for Islam, you know, it would have just stayed tense. And it's like I've had even the moments where my hair is not covered, like I've had people just kind of walk up to me and be like, "Oh, Chiawan, Nisha Muslima, like, excuse me, are you Muslim?" And I'm like, how did you know? And they're just like, oh, I could just kind of tell. And I was like, oh, snap. And then they're like, I'm Muslim too. And I'm like, word. And we're like, hey, you know, like I bear witness that that's happened.
Fun Muslim bunch.
We really do have friendships in all walks of life. Like anywhere I go, basically outside of Europe, but even in Europe, I've had like little moments, like anywhere I go, like I feel right at home because like we're experiencing the cultures of people who either are of people of the original family, you know? And so it's like getting to see yourself in like another culture, like Korea, like they remind me a lot of our nation's culture because they also have so many cultures and they're rooted in a deep respect for their ancient traditions while also striving toward their own future, while also seeking their own in every possible way. Like, you know, like how many, like, mad Koreans I know use Samsung, Hyundai, like they're like using their, you know, they have there's a tiny, tiny country in comparison to the US, but their industry, their, you know, arts and culture, like how it go all over the world. Like it's really, I think, a good like parallel and example for us. And there's little pockets of that, or maybe a whole lot of pockets of that all over this world. So I think that as time goes on, especially if we're talking about if America's going to fall, it's a little quick equation, right? If America's going to fall, where are you going to be? Where are you going to be?
It is falling.
It is falling, right? Like, so where are you going to be? You're just going to stay here while it falls, or are you going to go somewhere else? There's 193 or 197 or 203 countries in the world. It depends on who you ask, right? And who recognizes what and what not. It's all, you know, contentious. But like that means that there's at least 192 other options besides being in the United States. And so it's like, you know, like at some point, I mean, we were told to get our passports a long time ago. So at some point, we're gonna have to not be here. What are we gonna do? You know,
I ain't trying to be caught up in no hellfire. I want to just watch from a safe distance with sunglasses because it's gonna be hot.
I want a window seat on one of the baby planes, on the mother plane. Like I need a window seat on whatever craft I'm on. So like
eating bean pie because we can't eat popcorn.
You know, like exactly, or eating Navy bean chips. I know a sister who
Navy bean chips.
You know.
But yeah, beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. I wanted to ask this earlier because I was very curious because I've always heard this stereotype. Canada is like the exact opposite of the US. The people are nicer and everything there. What was your experience in Canada like? I'm very curious.
So full disclosure, I was there for a total of maybe 3, maybe 4 hours. Because again, we had to pop back to Savior's Day for the Family Day shindig that they were doing. And but also this shout out to my sister Amira from Canada. Shout out to my sister Angie and her family. Like in the eastern region, we have like Ontario too. So that's like Ottawa. I think Toronto is also Ontario. So like we have some, you know, we have Canadian believers too. So shout out to the fam. Let me think, what's my impression of Canada? Yeah, people were pretty much nicer. But Sister Amira was telling me how like in Canada is not that people aren't racist, but just that it's kind of like people are way less blatant about it. And so like it kind of shows up in like the way just people are treated systematically. Like I don't know if you heard the story about how in Canada, like 700, recently 700 like bodies of indigenous people, mostly children, were found like in the grounds of a school. And it's just like the kind of in order for Canada to be established, like they had to, murder the native people that were here on this land, just like in the United States. So I give Canada props for being way better in terms of education, healthcare, basic, treatment of, of people in terms of being polite. But I'm not. And Canada is also listed as a safe zone by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Like when things hit the fan here, he mentioned Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, Japan, and there might be like a fifth country that I don't know. But I know for sure those 4 countries were listed as like safe zones from like the wars to come. So Canada, hey, just take that as you will. I'd definitely go there again.
Sorry, my mind. I got lost after you said Japan. I was just like, it's destiny.
That's how destiny. I felt. I've been trying to get my parents. I'm like, hey, come to Japan with me. Move there with me, and they're like, no, we're good. I'm like, but we could. But come on.
Speaking of going back to the traveling piece, of course. That's what we've been on. What languages have you learned and picked up? And can you do a little bit for us on the show?
No pressure. Okay, let's see. So my goal is 16 or 17 right now. I didn't just choose the number. I just started listening to languages I wanted to learn, and it just came up to that much. I like the way you asked the question too, because it's like I'm only fluent in English, but I can get around in a few others. I can get around in Mandarin, in Spanish, and I can do small talk in French and Brazilian Portuguese and Swahili and Korean and Japanese. And I'm learning right now, I'm learning sign language, and I'm learning Turkish. And because I've been watching a whole bunch of Arturo Resurrection on Netflix, which I recommend for everybody.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I've watched over 100 episodes of Turkish. Let me just learn Turkish.
Might as well.
I'm learning Turkish right now. And I guess it just depends on what I should say. What should I say? What could I say for you in
whatever. So
but then right back to you. I'm like, I don't know.
Just like there's so many. I'm just like, it's like a buffet you've given me. I don't know.
That's fair.
We'll start off with something. Saying hello, how are you in Korean?
Oh, I mean, 안녕하세요. But if I wanted to ask how you're doing, I would just say like 안녕하세요, and then I want to know if you're okay. I'd be like 괜찮아요, 괜찮습니다. Or if I want to say nice to meet you, I'd be like 만나서 반갑습니다. But I'm not actually sure how to say how are you.
It's kind of like formal and informal.
Yeah, because one time, like, so I've only learned from watching like from one Rosetta Stone one time, and then like watching K-dramas, and
listen, you're better than me. I picked up a lot of my Japanese from anime.
Hey,
a lot of my Nani? Nanda?
Masaka? It's just like you pick it up along the way.
So all of that. And then I notice in different dialects, and it's just part of the culture. Along with the language itself, people express it very differently. There's a dramaticism to Japanese. It's very lighthearted. It's a lighthearted kind of sound in Korean. When you speak Haitian Creole, it sounds very aggressive.
Are you Haitian?
Part, yeah. On my mom's side. My mom's Haitian Bahamian.
Oh my God. So I was literally having this conversation yesterday. I keep finding out that people are Haitian, and it's almost like people just be like,
yeah, I don't speak it fluently. I'd like to speak it fluently. I speak Spanish better than I speak Haitian Creole, but I can do, bonsoir, bonne nuit, bonjour. What was that other one? I've also learned to curse. I'm not cussing on my show. Creole, we're not doing that.
I know Soup
Huh? Soup jumeau. Very good. Moi. It's so many things. What was it? Fouet. Fouet is cold. I believe that's what it. Fouet is cold. Shita. Sit down. It's so many different things. I need to learn to be more fluent, but I remember the base things, and of course, the cuss words, because of course I was gonna learn those first.
Of course. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, my Spanish is better though. My Spanish is better because also part Cuban on my father's side. So that, yeah.
I learned
I'm
something.
just a magical unicorn, man.
Wow.
You see,
And that's very
look,
fun.
you see this side. So like a magical unicorn. But enough about me. Now we talked about places you have been. Now I want to talk about places you want to be. You have like a top 5 of places you still haven't visited that you want to visit.
Two things really quickly.
Mm.
Can I say something about about language and then also answer that question?
Yes.
I think you're totally right. This is why I think learning languages is important, because there are certain ideas that work really well when being expressed in some languages that just don't work in other languages. Like there's certain languages that have words for things that we didn't have words for. And when you have the words for something, it's like, finally I can put, a word for this feeling or this idea or this sensation, or, like, I think that that's really important. And I noticed for at least myself, like, I can be really honest in, like, I've been caught up in conversations where in English I would much rather behave a different way, but because the language doesn't allow you to kind of like skirt around certain things, that I have to be direct now, and I have to like be straightforward. Like in Chinese, I have to be very straightforward about what's up, what I want, and things like that. I'm apparently, when I'm angry, like language just kind of comes out. Like the less I care about getting it wrong and the less I'm like shy about it, the more easily the words just kind of like flow.
I can't imagine you cussing someone out, let alone in a different language. Their language. That's rough.
People, I wouldn't say cursing people out, but people be trying you. Like I remember one time I was in like a market, and Chinese is a very haggling culture. So if you get a price, you're supposed to cut it down and then try and fight it. And some guy was trying to charge me a whole bunch of money, and then all of a sudden the words they flowed out so fast I didn't even have to think about translating it. It was just like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what are you doing, B? Like, how are you going to charge me this much? And you're going to charge my friend this much? Oh, because you thought I didn't understand, huh? Oh, well, plot twist, I do. So no, like it just kind of like happened. Yeah, and it's just
the foreigner thing. Then be like, oh, these people from America, let's jip them really quick. Yeah.
Like, excuse me, like, no, yes, I'm American, I get it, but I'm Black, yo. I don't need to pull out. Like, we don't have, like, understand. I ain't got it. Like, please, like, help me. I'm a student, But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, the Chinese have a phrase, 杯水车薪, which just means like not nearly enough. Like it's like 杯水 means like a cup of water, and 车薪 means like a car is on fire. So imagine that a car is on fire and you just take a cup and you're like, I got it. And you like throw one cup of water. It's like, that helps literally no one. It's like, yeah, sometimes like the discount they be offering, 杯水车薪, like that's not helpful, like at all, But you also asked about places, right?
Yes, like a top 3, top 5 places that you have not visited that you want to visit.
I'm gonna just put this on Allah's desk, because I would literally go anywhere. Like once I made a prayer, I was like, Allah, I would like to leave the country, please. Literally,
and Allah's like, granted, stamps your passport.
It happened for real, and that's how I ended up in Serbia. It was like,
wow.
I said literally anywhere, and I meant it. Like I did not care. Like it's not like, oh, not this place. No, I meant it. Anywhere, please.
God was just like, all right, drop you off here.
He is undefeated for the like coming through. Okay, I'm just put this on the last desk, please. I would like to go to New Zealand and to Antarctica, and I mean, there's mad places on my list right now. Like literally, I would go to every country ever, even if there's a war zone, I would go. So I'm not sure if that's like the most helpful thing. Let me see. Where else do I go if it's like
war zone? You are the traveler. I'm gonna need you to put a book out all your travels, like detail it. Like I would like that. I would like that a lot. That would be something dope. You got to do that
someday, inshallah. My third place would be Egypt. That's the place. I want to touch the pyramids.
Praise be to Allah. Why Antarctica though? That's got me curious.
I mean,
why Antarctica?
It's on our planet.
That's fair.
I want to see the penguins. I love penguins. They're not like, they're so cute. I wanna see the penguins, and I want to yo, like this whole world. I want to see the whole world. I want to see the things that I can't just see in my own city. And we don't have glaciers in New York. Um, I think I mentioned New Zealand because like they have everything. They have volcanoes. They have like, I think they shot Lord of the Rings in New Zealand, so they have
Wow.
meadows, volcanoes, glaciers. They have it all there. So I want to see all of that.
So it's like Florida, but cooler.
Let's go with that. That's one way to put it. I would have never put that.
Florida's kind of like a melding pot of different cultures and things of that nature, but we don't have volcanoes and glaciers or forests.
I would not be. If somebody told me that a volcano is coming to Florida, I would believe it. Like I'd be like, okay, what else is new? Okay, sure. I would not blink. Like, okay, a volcano's coming. Understood.
We just get everything just randomly, and it's just like, oh, wow. So, anyways, all right. So you said Antarctica, and you said, what about Mecca? Curious. Have you been?
Of course. I have never been to Mecca. It's definitely a life goal of mine as a Muslim to go there. I guess maybe I kind of just took it for granted that someday I will go, so I didn't like rank it like high on my list. Like I'm not.
It was already like in your mind already. Of course, I'm going to Mecca.
Oh yeah,
it's the Holy Land. It's definite. It's like, why wouldn't it be on my list?
Exactly.
I feel that. Yeah. That's dope. So we have 10 minutes left. We have no more questions from our audience. Before we get to our closing comments and statements. There was a question off the tip of my tongue. Did traveling help get rid of any stereotypes you had of people overseas? If you had any stereotypes, particularly negative.
Oh, that's a great question. Did traveling help me? I'm not inclined to think so. Let me see. Let me check. Did traveling? No, because I really try not to so maybe you know what this feels like, right? Like I personally try not to go into places with expectations. Like I try to go knowing the culture so I don't offend people.
You go with a blank canvas.
Right. And I try to know what about the culture so you don't offend people. So for example, in Arabia, it's rude to sit in a way that the bottom of your foot is showing to another person. Like you would I would have never thought about that in the US. But like in Arabia, that's hella rude. Like, I don't know if you remember that reporter that time who threw his shoes at George Bush. Like, that was like, the ultimate insult. That was like, ultimate, like, oh my God, like your shoes, because that's like the dirtiest part. So anyway, I try to know those things about a place before I go, but I don't like to go with expectations because I don't want to hold a place or any people or person accountable to some idea that I have created just in my head. And then be disappointed when what the reality is doesn't necessarily fit that. So it's kind of like going in with a box and asking somebody to fit in it. And it's like, because I know what it feels like for people to try and like box me in. And it's just like, hey, you're not fitting this idea of you that I thought that you should be. What's the deal with that? And it's like, or you could have come with an open mind and just, try and see and find out like, who and what I am and what I'm actually about. Like we could have done that. And that would have been, why would I hold someone else or anywhere like accountable to my imagination instead of just embracing the full reality of things,
Beautiful answer. We love that. Praise be to Allah. Now we have 7 minutes. Any closing comments that you would like to make before we end our show about traveling, whatever, everything? Go ahead.
I thought in a question. I would say that I hope and I think that I have helped to quell some other negative stereotypes of Black people in places. It's just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has gone to make friends for our minister and for us all over the world. Our enemy has gone out and made enemies for us all over the world. Like there's countries out here that Black folk have never colonized ever, that we ain't did nothing to y'all ever in life, but somehow y'all have the N-word translated into y'all language. Y'all have a word for the N-word in your language. It's like, what do we ever do? What did we do to you? Like how? Because it's because of the story that America often tells about Black people and who we are, and they present the worst part of ourselves and they ignore the fact that we built the best of the United States, like the best of the world. They ignore that. So it's like, I've been in places and I've been treated like I've been waved away like a puppy, like a dog even. Been treated in some cases like less than with the dignity that a basic human being should have. And like in those moments I've been, angry, but then having to remember like, yo, like I might be one of the first Black people or the first Black person that this person ever interacts with ever in life. So then it's like it goes back to that alchemy that I was telling you about. Like, oh, in China, for example, like China's a lot like the US. And you know how we have like rural US states and whatnot? Like China has that too. And Shanghai is like a New York of China. So like I lived in Shanghai. So like while I was out there, like, my first couple of days, I'm being a tourist, I'm taking pictures of different buildings and I'm just like, oh, this is great. Like there's rural folks coming, taking pictures of me because they'd never seen a Black person in real life before. And it's like, people want to take pictures of me, but I'm like, oh, maybe take a picture with me. So like now we're having a conversation and it's not like a freaking petting zoo.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna snap a picture. It's like, no, like, let's talk. Where are you from? Oh, you're in Chongqing. Oh, my sister Medina, who's also from Mosque Number 7. Oh, she taught in Harbin. Like she's, like, oh, I have a relation to that place. Or, oh, like I'm a human.
Right.
I'm really happy to like
proper interaction.
Right. It's like adding another dimension, and it's like everybody, what I learned is that everyone around the world, like there's so many things that we do have in common, not to be cliche, but it's like, as a human being, there's just certain things that we can connect with. And I love like finding like the ways and spaces to connect. So my question for you is like, one, I wonder like, what are some like different ideas that you've come across in your platform that you hadn't been exposed to before having these conversations? Because in a way, like you're traveling and having these conversations with folks,
I had no real preconceived notions except for what I've seen. But like you, I wanted to come in a blank canvas because this episode is titled The World Traveler. I want to travel the world with that blank canvas, my fault. Grammar Nazi here. I wanted to experience it for myself. People can promote and put these different things out there, but until you've experienced it, you can't really say anything about it. I had my preconceived notions of Jamaica, but when the opportunity was offered for me to go, it's like, okay, I've heard this, I've heard that, I've seen this, I've seen that. Time for me to experience it for myself to see what's true and what's false. And I left with so much more knowledge of what Jamaica is, and it was just an extension of home to me, because I have an attachment to the islands because of my Bahamian descent, because of my Haitian descent. I don't have Jamaican in my family, but they're part of the islands, so they're basically kin too. And just being there, it felt like I never left, but at the same time, it felt different because of the things that were glaringly obvious that are not here in the States. So it was a beautiful experience, and I'd like to repeat that experience in other places like Japan, like Mecca, like Dubai, like the UK.
The UK, yeah. There's
So
not even a language barrier there, so that'd be great.
Yes, and yes, this episode has been wonderful. I'm a very visual person. I actually did feel like I can visualize some of these places. You tell me you've been to the Shaolin Temple. I see the mountain. I see the temple. I see the monks training and practicing and whatnot. Oh man, like that's dope. That is dope.
Super amazing.
I see Japan. I see the different gardens and the sakuras and the different kingdoms, but I also see Tokyo, the futuristic side, the modern part.
Yeah, all in the same place.
And of course, I see Mecca. I see the big black box.
Right.
I see the Kaaba. That's automatic. It's automatic. And I see the people walking around and saying the prayer. And these are things that I'd actually like to experience. And you opening that up, it makes me even more inclined, because I have a passport. I'm just not traveling a lot because of the Rona.
When you go into Japan though, like yo, I will literally help y'all book y'all flights. Like I'm good at finding cheap flights. Like yo, like
word. Say
just
less,
go.
like
And
pay
when
less.
y'all out to Japan, like say less. Like yo,
I'm gonna hold you to that now. I'm gonna tell my wife, hey, we done found someone who can book us cheap flights to Japan.
I'm
Pack your
serious.
things.
I'm yo, as we say in New York, like I'm quite dead ass about that.
The plug. The
yeah.
plug.
Mhm.
We love that. Thank you again for being on the show. It has been an honor. It has been a privilege. It has been an experience. And look forward to having you again in season 3, possibly. Maybe.
Oh.
We shall see. But until next time, this has been Kareem Talks. I'm your host, Kareem. That's Jadea. Tune in next month where we start off with probably the most wildest guests I have ever had. You're going to see all the memes. You're going to see all the mayhem. If it ends up being a chill episode, I'm going to be surprised. And I feel bad because I false advertised. And you may possibly see me in a bear suit. So that'll be a thing. So tune in next month, guys. By the way, Kareem Talks will not be on July the 4th because that is our Independence Day. So there will be no Kareem Talks on July 4th. But we have episodes locked in for this month. So stay tuned for our guests. Peace. See ya.